In this video, we're going to discuss the cost of living in the Philippines. We're going to look at some specific rental ranges for housing and condominiums. We're going to do some comparisons with a few other Southeast Asian countries as well. We're going to touch on some other factors as well, data points, quality of life, and a number of other things as well as we get into this video. Stick around if you can, subscribe if you can, if you enjoy this type of video. I put 2 to 3 videos out every week. I think I've got about 1,400 videos out over 9 years in the Philippines. Subscribing, thumbs up, comments always help the algorithm as well. Really appreciate that. I have lived in the Philippines 3 different trips, 9 years total here, 6 different condominiums. I've done dozens and dozens of real estate type videos, cost of living videos, travel videos. If you want to know what condos look like inside, what they cost to rent, just check out my condo videos. Anyway, let's get into it. First off, about housing costs, it really is your responsibility to control your cost of living. You need to know how much guaranteed income you have coming in and understand that you could have a situation where you cannot access your income. So you should have some savings, a certain amount of savings in the bank that you can rely upon in case your source of income stops. When I came here, I think I was here 6-7 months, and my Social Security stopped. And I called them, and they said, well, we overpaid you, so you're not going to get paid for 6 months. We sent you a letter, which I didn't receive, and I could have said, well, I just want a decreased amount for X 2 years or something like that. But anyway, I didn't have a check for 6 months. So those kind of things can happen. The experts say you should spend 25 to 30% of your net income on housing costs. So I would suggest you even keep it lower than that, more like 20 to 25% to be safe, especially out of country when you're in this experimental stage. Now, I've done many cost of living videos from back in 2016. And there were many months where my expenses were between $800 and $900 a month. But sooner or later, you're going to have an emergency cost, an illness, an injury, something, dental work, expensive dental work that's going to cut into that. And I really suggest that, depending upon your living, if you want to live like this guy here, there are expats here living at very cheap, $150, $250 a month rent, and you can find those places even in the city, but you need to take time to get out and find them and use some Filipinos to help you find them if that's really what you want to do. On the other hand, there are those who have built up large bank accounts, made good investments, sold an expensive house, for whatever reason have 2 or 3 different pensions and can pretty much spend as they wish, and those types of properties and standards of living are out there as well. This video is not for them. There are basically 3 types of people. They're the people on a very tight budget. Let's say their pension is $1,000 or less, 50,000 pesos or less per month. There are those in the middle range, anywhere from 1,300 to 2,000 US dollars a month. I'm talking US dollars, who can live pretty comfortably, but at the same time you need to watch your budget, your expenses, especially early on. Understand what your limitations are and be willing to say no. There's a lot of people that might reach out to you and, will you buy this? Will you loan me money? And those types of things. And you just need to be able to say no. Give me capital to start a business is a request I've had a number of times over the years. The main point is you need to stay in control of your money and your budget, and do accordingly. I buy a lot of imported foods. They are, especially with the cost of the Philippine peso, the value of the Philippine peso being low now, imported goods cost a lot more, and that inflation really cuts in. Now let's look at your money. What is your dollar, your euro, your Canadian dollar, Australian dollar? How far does it go here? What's it worth here? Let's look at that because that has a big factor in determining your cost of living. Your cost of living, obviously, when you're living out of your main country, has a lot to do with the exchange rate. And I'm at xe.com, one of many sites you can get information about exchange rates. Presently, $1 equals 58.63 Philippine pesos. Highest I think it's been in my 9-year stay. When I came in 2015, it was 48.5. So it's 10 pesos. I get an extra 10 pesos for every US dollar. That adds up, But the problem with that, number of problems, many of the imported items become much more expensive because of the lower value of the Philippine peso, and they're paying larger amounts to bring those items in. So inflation cuts in to this big time. So yeah, you can see the chart, and you can go to this site or other sites to see what your currency from your country is doing to the Philippine peso or Thai baht or whatever. And yeah, we're at one of the highest levels over here. What I've read is that it is forecast to stay relatively high through the rest of this year, but lots of things can happen. And this is just from, this is for the last year. A lot of Australians here. Australian dollar to Philippine peso likewise has been rising over the last year as well. The euro likewise, this is the chart for the last year, has been going up, 63.25 presently. Canadian dollar to Philippine peso likewise has been rising pretty rapidly here. British pound, likewise on the same trajectory, going up. The Japanese yen has been going the exact opposite direction, and there's some issues there. I've met a number of Kiwis here from New Zealand, and likewise theirs is going up as well, 35.8187. So jumping over to a site called Numbo, and we'll talk about how they get their figures, very important where people get their data. And North, South America, Africa, got Europe and Asia, Southeast Asia, Australia down here. And here's your schedule up here. Affordability index. Here we're at affordability index, and we can go to a number of different items here. But anyway, we're at affordability index. And let's just zoom in. Since we're talking about Southeast Asia, zoom in. Manila is in the extreme red, so that's not good. Many of these, Bangkok for Phnom Penh here, and Bangkok or Ho Chi Minh City, red as well, and Bangkok is here. Now, don't be confused by this because affordability in this charts are, as we'll see later, are based on the average Filipino monthly wage, which is $200 to $300 for many people who are in the middle class. As I've stated before, and we're going to look at more details on rental ranges in a couple different areas, it really is up to you to know what what you can afford and to stick with that. And I'll show you how to research that information and get some valuable data. Now, Cebu City, where I live, Cebu City in over here, Cebu Island and Cebu City here, prices here are many people have mentioned over quite a number of years that prices in Cebu City are getting to be comparable to Manila area. So we could probably, I'm really surprised with the number of expats here that they don't have enough data to put Cebu City here, as well as Iloilo City, Bacolod City. Cebu City is the second largest city in the Philippines. Davao down here in Mindanao is pretty much about the same size as Cebu City. I think population-wise, pretty close. And Iloilo City and Bacolod are about half the size of Cebu City. Very popular Dumaguete down here is about 1/4 the size of Cebu City population-wise, I believe. But Manila, Cebu City, Bangkok, and other cities in Southeast Asia, they're very, very large. Especially Manila is just huge metropolitan areas. So, you can find housing, getting harder and harder, but you can find budget housing if that's really what you're looking at in these cities, in Cebu City. And once you get out of the city just a little ways, you can find budget housing in the city. You can find motivated sellers, people who built their house or bought their house or condominium when the prices were very low, and their return on investment is relatively low compared to people who bought their properties when the prices were at the very high end. And this is the very important information. Numbo is a leading global database for housing, real estate prices, and related indicators. Numbo allows you to see and compare information about residential property prices worldwide by providing online software. Offers these features: comprehensive data, allows users to enter or edit prices, rents, interest rates, and other relevant information about housing for major cities worldwide. Now, that's the important part. Users can affect this. If you are a owner, would you have a motivation to go in and try to affect prices one way or the other by the data you put in? If you're a renter, would you be a high value renter, a mid value renter, or a lower value renter? So that all comes into I'm guessing that the lower priced renters are not evenly represented in this data, my guess. So we come over here to Dumaguete and price to income ratio. Mortgage as a percentage of income, boy, that's really high. Loan affordability index, price to rent ratio. Gross rental yield outside center city, 16, almost 17%. That's pretty good. Gross rental yield city center, that's very good. So there again, it's affected by who is putting the data in. And this is a case where I do not believe that data. Rent per month, 1-bedroom apartment, city center, 14,000, but it gives a range, 12,000 to 16,000. 1-bedroom outside city center, about 4,000 pesos less. 3-bedroom city center, 26. Buy apartment price per square feet to buy apartment in city center. Important figures to look at when you're looking at buying. Location, location, location. Average monthly net salary after tax, 13,000 pesos. Average monthly net sales after tax, 13,000. That's, I think, right around $230 US, something like that, per month. Mortgage interest rate in percentages, yearly for 20 years fixed rate, 6.5%. These data are based on 46 entries in the past 18 months from 11 different contributors. So that's not a lot of data to get averages off of, but that is what it is. Nearby cities, Bacolod is getting more popular with expats, and Talisay City is just 140 miles away, so it's not the Talisay City that is just a few miles on the south side of Cebu City. So let's go into Bacolod here, and not enough information to fill in the information here. Apartment, 1-bedroom, city center, 10 to 25,000. Apartment outside city center, 7.5 to 12,000. Property prices in Cebu, Philippines. Price to income ratio, mortgage as percentage of income, 296%. What? Loan availability index, very small. Price to rent ratio, gross rental yield, 2.64%. Gross rental yield outside city center, 4%. So not very high at all. That really will vary. One bedroom apartment in the city center, like IT Park or Cebu Business Park. Yeah, that's mid-range, 20 to 40,000. That would be mid-range. There again, you can find what bedrooms at which basically is a studio with a wall in it, and they call it a one bedroom, anywhere from 32 square meters up to 45, 55, 65 square meters. So there's quite a range there, up to 40,000. Really depends on how many square meters, square feet you are getting there. One bedroom outside of the center. Yeah, I think so, 10,000 to 15,000. And yeah, you should be able to find that still. Absolutely. So even outside the city center, you can find reasonable priced units. Sometimes you get what you pay for, so be aware of that. And then price per square foot to buy apartment in city center. These are in pesos, but good to be aware of these numbers. Now, I have done many cost of living videos where I give very specific with the food, the electric, the internet, other stuff, miscellaneous, entertainment, all that kind of thing. And I will put a link at the end of this video. And I have a playlist just called Cost of Living, and you can go through there and get specifics if you would like. Now, inflation has gone up over the years here and everywhere, and costs have increased. My first 2 months here were the most expensive. I think my first month here getting set up, and I'll do another video about that soon. I think I spent 2,400, 2,500 US dollars. And that's 121,000 pesos at the exchange rate, 48.5 at that point in time. With today's exchange rate of 58 to the US dollar, it would be 145,000 pesos. In retrospect, I shouldn't have done that because, as I said before, I ended up 6 months without any income. But I didn't come here broke. I had backup savings. But I moved into this quote unquote fully furnished apartment. Well, I did. It's a little studio, or they call it one bedroom. They put a wall in a studio and called it a one bedroom. Pretty small. Done a video about that. And anyway, I wanted a good set of cookware because I had a rice cooker and a couple rusty pans, I think, was my fully furnished. I had a bed, but the sheets were not very high quality, so I spent $100 or so or more on a good set of cookware, some other pans and cooking stuff. I think I bought myself a toaster. I bought better quality sheets for the bed, a fan, a number of different things that I spent money on. I had an infection in my leg that started in Los Angeles, in fact, and kept getting worse and worse. I had a maid at my hotel say, "Sir, your leg is all swollen up. You need to go see a doctor." And I did. They had to cut it out, and that cost me a few, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6,000 pesos, a little over $100 in the end. And your startup costs here can be very expensive. I know a number of my friends and subscribers that have come here. They've had a medical emergency right away, and they've spent several $1,000s right away. Really cut into their savings that they thought they were going to have long term. So Numbo, there are a couple other sites that will give you more specifics on what does a pair of shorts cost, what does a pair of underwear cost, what does a haircut cost, what does a loaf of bread cost, what does a meal out cost. all this type of information. If you really want to deep dive into that, basically I suggest that you carry a little pad with you and keep track. Keep track of every peso you spend here. And keep track so you have an idea. I've got a couple of friends here I've known over the years, and both of them have said, boy, I don't know where my money's going to. Well, actually, they do know where their money. They've got girlfriends, and the girlfriend comes over and hey, can I? They see the food in the cupboard. Can I take this home? And he's giving them money as they're leaving, and helping out with her and the families, all that type of thing. So keep track of what you're spending. If you don't know, if you don't have a plan, you don't know what your budget is, and what you're spending. You could be one of these guys out here that some expats make videos about, homeless in the Philippines, and you don't want to be there. Don't want to be there. Anyway, thanks for coming along. If you're still here, take care, safe travels, and boy, the Philippines offers so much, but it can be a bad experience. And I occasionally get comments from people who hate the Philippines. They've had a bad experience. Number one, it would have been either money or a bad experience with one or more girls. So be aware of that. Take your time, know what you're doing. Anyway, see you next time.